All right. Wait just a couple seconds here. Hope everybody's having a great day today. Molly was really nice and she volunteered to actually do this training to show you guys how you can do multiple different ways to be able to turn your voice AI into AI automations, which is really cool. It's an easy way to demo your AI, get out there. A lot of you've seen them. They're really cool. It's really great for ads, which for AI, AK, you guys, we're starting ads next week. So you'll be able to use this for ads, which is, hey, what do you know? Perfect timing. So, with that being said, we'll go ahead and get this thing rolling. This is Molly. We'll go in ahead and introduce her. She does a lot of my graphics and things for me. She was really enough to volunteer. She did the original purple one that you're going to see there. She's going to go ahead and walk you guys through a couple different ways to be able to do these. And with that, I'll go ahead, Molly, unmute yourself, and I'll let you take off.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, everyone. Yeah, great introduction. Thanks, Jeff. Today, I'm going to show you two different ways to make what we call audiograms, or those little clips that you have that have a little audio visualizer in them, that are great ways to have that graphic component for that audio piece that we have in our AI. Those phone calls, those powerful phone calls that we can automate. So I'm going to show you first the hard way. I'm just going to go over that really briefly, step by step, so you can see how we do it in Adobe After Effects. And I also have all of the steps I'm going to show you for the After Effects written down in a document that I can share with you if you would like. And then we'll take some questions about that component. And then I promise you, if you stick to the second half, I will show you how we can do this, a kind of workaround in Canva. It does require the Canva Pro account. For the most part, I think there's maybe one or two options available at the basic account. But for today, get a Pro account or get yourself some Adobe After Effects. Yeah, so in order to start from where we are going to begin today, you want to have recorded your phone call. So that will require a couple of things to make sure that we get the best possible audio quality. Now, for the funnel docs, he recorded it once just off of his phone, or maybe it was on a Zoom call, and man, the audio quality was just not there. Our human brains, when I'm listening to it, I can pick up what those little cut off words are. Our brains do that, but when we are trying to make an audio file based on, or a visualizer based on an audio file, we want the loudest, crispest, best quality audio we can get. So I said, hey, Funnel Doc, do me a solid and let's re-record that. But I'm going to record it using a little bit of a better microphone. So I have a separate audio recorder. I bet you guys don't have one of those unless you're somehow an audio nerd as well. Shout outs to my audio nerds out there. But if you have another phone to record with, for example, and you want to have your one phone on speaker that you're dialing your AI, you have your voice here, and then you're going to hold your other phone right next to you, so it's picking up both your voice and what's coming off of speakerphone. Or if you have an audio app on your phone that will record your phone call, you can do that as well. We just want to make sure we're getting that best quality audio possible. And then you can also, if you have Canva, there are some audio apps I can show you when we get to Canva that can help you amplify that audio as well. But bottom line, to start out, we want to start out with the best quality foundation blocks if we're going to build a house, right? We don't want it to be wonky. So we want to make sure we have best quality audio, and then also have a little file that has your core graphics that you're going to use. I am all about keeping brand identity steady. So have a transparent logo, like transparent background logo of yours. If you have any other icons or something, you can do that. All of those are options you can have. You'll see that I have our background image that we use for a lot of our branding and stuff like that. That's one of the graphics I have in my assets folder. So once we have our assets, we can dive into After Effects. So let me
Molly,
share.
quick question.
Question, yes.
While you're getting that, what is like the worst but best they can use? Like Zach just asked, is using your computer to make a phone call? Can you record on that? What's like the worst quality that you recommend? You know what I mean? But the best quality.
I would not do what the funnel doc did the first time, which was my core instinct to do as well, which is to have your phone with you and use your computer to record you. That one isn't going to give you the best quality unless you have an exterior microphone. That can then help you pick up the audio. Or what you can do is borrow a friend or a business partner or one of your you have to try your phone call, right? You have to get people to test out your AI. So why not use one phone to record the audio in like voice memo apps? Fantastic way to do it. And then get them to call the AI from their phone on speaker. That would be good.
One more question, Molly. So before you get going, I just thought about it. You can go underneath voice and turn it on so it record it to HighLevel, so it records the whole. Could you just download it from HighLevel? Is that clear enough? Because then they could just call themselves, get a good one, download it from HighLevel because we record it, and then it's one-stop shop. They don't have to worry about any of the other stuff.
Look at that.
Bam.
Funnel doc. Brilliant. What would we include you?
Go ahead. Back to you.
All right, let's dive into After Effects here. So After Effects is a paid software. It is a little bit, it is one of the professional softwares that we use, but I highly recommend it. You can also get a trial. I'm sure you can get a trial of it and just knock out a couple of these in times to make your ads for next week. So we're going to start by making a new project. This one's called Untitled, and we're going to start by creating a new composition. Here we want to name our composition. We call it Visualizer. Now here is a very important step. See where it says presets? We want to make sure we click that drop down, and it's going to give us a ton of different options. This is the size of our canvas that we're working with, the ultimate size of the exported file at the end. So do you want that canvas to be a vertical portrait because you're making an Instagram reel or a YouTube short? Do you want this to be a square image? Do you want this to be a full, wide, high definition YouTube, full frame, 4K HD? You can do all of those different things. So the ones that I would recommend, if you are taking notes, this is where you want to take notes, is if you are doing full frame for YouTube, you want it to be like your trailer on your YouTube channel or one of your YouTube long form videos. You would want to do HD 1920 by 1080, and you want the most number of FPS, that's frames per second. I'm going to jump over all the geek speak. We're just getting straight down to how we get this done. If you want to do social media long form videos, portrait videos for YouTube shorts or Instagram reels, things like that, you want to go with the social media portrait HD, which is 1080 by 1920. If you want it to be square, you want to go social media square here, 1080 by 1080. And if you want social media landscape, don't know why we'd want to do a social media landscape, but if you're into those like short videos, you would do the social media landscape HD. The rest of the options here, you don't need to worry about. Today, we're going to make a portrait video. Now, other thing we want to keep in mind, very important, is the duration here at the very bottom. The way that After Effects works is it's going to give us our canvas, the shape of what we're working with, and it's going to give us the duration at the same time. So I know that the call that we're working with today, I've made a 60-second clip. So I'm going to put this as a 1-minute clip. Yeah, I'll do it as a 60-second clip. And if you want to change your background color, that's also available here on the bottom. If you have your graphics or like your color chart or your brand chart and you have your colors, you can just press the color picker here and it would give you a color picker. You go over and say, I want this purple. So that's going to be our background color. Or you can click on the color itself and you can either select from the spectrum, the matrix here, or you can input your color codes specifically. Okay, today I want to go back to black. So I'm just going to do my 0000, which is black. All right, so that's your composition settings. Super duper important so that we're working with the right thing that we need. Cool? Awesome. Now I do a little bit of organizing here. I go down and create a new folder and I call it assets, which I did over here. And then I just click and drag from my desktop or wherever those files are located in my hard drive. I'm going to drop those over into the assets folder so that I have everything I need to work with. Here I have the 60-second cut of our audio. I have our background image. I have our logo. I have another interesting video that we might use as a background. And I have the canvas we just created. All right. Down here at the very bottom, this is our timeline that we're working with. So this is where we'll be able to see what's at the beginning, sequentially, all the way through to the end of our video. And we can toggle this blue arrow here to go through our timeline. Up here at the very top of that blue toggle, we can see the different time settings. So we get an idea of how long through our timeline we've gone. And we can also see here in this display what is the current time marker of where we are. If we click that time, we can also select a specific time code within our timeline to go to. So if we know at a certain point in the call, we want our call to action to pop up, that's where we can manipulate those times. We can do it by going directly with the slider or by typing in directly the timestamp that we want to go to. All right, so now let's start building. We're going to start by importing all of our files, which we just did. And now let's create our layers. We're going to make sure that we're selected down here in our timeline. And we're going to go up to the top menu to layer. Under new layer, we're going to select solid. This really just gives us a place for our visualizer to live. So we're going to name this our visualizer. We're going to make sure that it matches the size of our canvas. It will automatically do this. So I just build it into habit to always double check. Now down here at the bottom is where we can pick our color. So I'm just going to go with white just to be nice and obvious. Bam. Now let's get into the fun creation part. We've started with a blank canvas. Now we're going to start playing around with that audio file of ours. Here we're going to, again, select our visualizer layer. We know that it's selected. Right now, mine is not selected. It's kind of this dulled out color. Yours might be red, it might be blue, it might be green. You can change those colors in your settings. But once I select it, I can see this whole line gets highlighted. Each of the different layers we create are going to be different layers and lines within this timeline. So we want to make sure we've selected this one. And we can also see with the icon, the eyeball icon over here on the far side, that's going to let us know that we can see or hide that layer that we're working with. So I have it selected. We also know it's selected because we can see all of these dots around the binding box here. Now we know we're working with the right layer. Sometimes you can mix up the layer you're working with and you're applying all these cool settings and it just doesn't work out right. Always go back to, did I have the right layer selected? Okay. Now we are going to go to effects and we are going to go down to audio spectrum under generate. I always forget where I put this. Effect could manage effects. No, that's not where we go. We have to go to effects and then generate. There it is. And from here, we can go to audio wave and audio waveform. So I'm going to go to audio spectrum. That's the one I need for this. You might have seen a change on my screen in my workspace here. Now on this corner, this tab has opened up our effect controls for the layer visualizer. Effect controls, if you're taking notes, you want to write down effect controls. That is where all of the tools that will allow us to manipulate this audio visualizer are going to sit. We can find this tool, this tab quickly if we don't know where it's gone on our screen by going up to the help function and just typing in what you need to find. So if you type in effect controls, it's going to help point you in the right direction of how to get to those controls. Okay? If we lose it, we know how to get it back. So that is how we create that layer. Now, in my guide for you, this is going to be step 4, is little playing around with the visualizer. So if we look on our effect controls on our second layer here, on our audio spectrum, we have to pick where our source is. So we have these 2 drop downs here under audio layer. The first drop down is to make sure we're on the right layer. So we're attaching it to the layer visualizer we just created. And the second one is where we want to create our source. So for some reason, mine is not showing my audio. So I'm going to go back and, oh, it's because I didn't do this. I didn't attach audio. I have to drop my audio in here. Click. Drop my audio. There we go. So now I have my audio available. Let's go and generate my audio spectrum. Now we know it's selecting our source as the audio that we want to be playing with. That's what we want to be doing. We'll go back to this one and we'll make sure that we select the right one. Okay, perfect. Making sure I'm following the same steps I'm giving you guys. So I have followed that. Now we get to customize. This is where, so you can see this like pink dashed line in the middle of our canvas here. That's our audio visualizer. So as we move now, because we've attached the audio to the visualizer effect, as we move through the timeline, we can see our visualizer moving with our audio. If we go.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
So now we get to play around. So I'm sure you guys are not a fan of the bright pink. I'm not a fan of the bright pink. So let's change it to green for the inside of those lines, and the kind of fade out on the outside will do kind of like a neat blue. Now let's zoom in to see what this looks like. So now we've changed our colors, but it's still in that same style, which is kind of cool. It's kind of cool. So we can do different things. We can move it around to different spots on our canvas. You can have it at the bottom of your canvas so that we can just select it and then move it to different spots if we want. We can rotate it around if we want. But for now, let's just play around with how we can make it look a little bit different. So we go down to frequencies here. We have start frequency and end frequency. So if we adjust these, it will adjust which frequencies in the audio it's going to react to. Here's the other thing about Adobe or After Effects. So if you look, we have the blue arrow here, then we have our timeline bar, and then this tiny little bar above all of our layers where it's little dashes of blue and green right now and black, that's our render bar. So when it's green, it means that our computer has been able to process enough of this file for us that we can actually start to scan through and see what our video looks like. When it's blue, it means it's processing. When it's black, it means it hasn't processed yet. So you might not be able to get a live preview. But if you move your cursor around, you'll be able to start getting it to process in those areas. So moving our frequencies in this area didn't help our file. So let's see if we adjust just the end frequency. You can see how it's not using as much of the audio spectrum. You keep it all the way down, it will give you more of that spectrum, but you can play around with how much of it you like to see in there. Next, we can also play with the thickness here. We can either just type in how thick we want the bars to be, or we can use the little scale here, make some cool little different looks. And we can also go under you can play with all of these settings, to be honest. Those are good ones to play with. And color we just talked about. Now there's a cool thing in color called hue interpolation. Don't ask me what it is. I have no idea what the geekery means. I just know what it does in terms of our spectrums here. So if we play with this, it'll play with a little bit more color ranges. It can give you some you can get like cool rainbow effects and whatnot. So let's give it a couple seconds to render for me. Rendering is generally what takes the most time.
I want to ask you questions to understand your business.
Oh, it's not playing.
This is your voice AI assistant.
It's working on my end, but it's not showing for you guys.
Your frequency is all set to 0 or very low. Both of them.
Oh yeah, let's do it this way. Aha! There we go. Go team. Let's get that to play a little bit. So
First, I want to ask you questions to understand your business. And I'll role play it.
So yeah, you can see how we get the cool like spectrums when we play with the interpolation. Pretty cool. So we can do that one. And then we can also add different effects by playing around with all the other potential effects you have in here if you want. We're not going to get into that today, but it's something you can very easily search up, the different kinds of effects in After Effects. And then that's kind of the cool part there. There's also down here under display options, You can also change it between analog and digital. I think I've blown it out a little bit too much for you guys. Drop my thickness a bit so you can see. So we can do analog dots. So as that changes along the spectrum, we can see that there's a selection of dots above and below. If we just want the dots on the top of the spectrum, we can just select side A down here under side options, or just side B if we just want it on the bottom. If we want them to match A and B. Same thing goes for analog lines. We can have it A and B going both above and below, and digital is the one that we started out with. So those we have, and there was one more I wanted to show you. Where did it go? Oh, we can also change our height if we want it to be a little bit more visually representative of what we're doing. So we have all of those really cool options for you guys. Then you would just move your visualizer to where you want it to go, head over back to your project file. This is where we'd add in, say, our background. Oh no, we've lost the visualizer. We're simply going to take our background file here, which is the very top, and we're going to slide it down to the bottom. And now our visualizer is atop that layer. So we can do things like that. We can add in our logos. We can resize them however we want. And then if you want to get really fancy, you can also do animations and whatnot in After Effects, which is kind of cool. So for the logo, I've selected our logo, and I want it to change. I want it to zoom in. So I'm going to click the little timer here, which sets a endpoint, little key point in or keyframe. I'm going to slide back to the very front of our timeline, and I'm going to drag the logo off to the side. So it's off of the canvas. Now it puts another keyframe in there. So as I slide through our timeline, we can see our logo show up. And then towards the end, I'm going to make another keyframe here. So I'm going to, on the position line over here on the edge where it's a keyframe, that's a full triangle. I'm going to select that. And then we'll slide off to the very end of our canvas, select our graphic, pull them off, and then make sure that it's selected blue to have a keyframe there. And then we can see it's animated off to the side. And while it's in the middle, why not? Let's do a little rotation. So under rotation in the middle of our timeline, we'll select a keyframe, and then we'll just do like 360 degrees. It'll flip. So as we watch, it'll get there. Oh, why didn't it do it? Rotation, keyframe, rotation, keyframe. We're just gonna put a bunch of rotation keyframes in. Do. Why isn't it turning? Oh. 180 then. Yeah, there we go. Do. Now it's turning, now it's turning. And then it leaves. Cool. So that's just a real simple example here. You can also go up to the top and add text. So you can say, call me now. You can play around in the text settings of where everything, how everything will display. We can add our phone number in here. Oh no, that text is too big. So we are going to look for our text controls. And here we want text. Cool. I can't see any of it because you guys are under it. There we go. So I want to have this centered. I want to make sure that it's a little bit smaller. Oh, you guys are right on top of the menu. Oh, oh no. Move this there. Okay. So go under characters and I'm going to make this size 110 so it's a little bit easier to see. Voila. So there you have it. A very simple example of how you can put one of these together in basically no time. Now, if you want it to look good, put some more time into it, think about it a little bit more, play with it a little using those same techniques we talked about. And then you just have to export it. Exporting is takes the most time. You just want to go File, Export, and Add to Render Queue. And down here to under Output to, you can pick wherever you want it to be. And then under Output Module, you click that and you should be good with H.264 as just like your regular. If you're exporting it for anything fancy, like you need a transparent background or anything like that, call me. Just get in touch with me. Say funnel doc, I need Molly, and I will help you with that respect. So before we get into the way easier way to do this, where we're going to do this in Canva, does anyone have any questions?
Molly, one of the questions was, what is the learning curve for Adobe After Effects? I know there's way different, but to do something like this and be able to be where you're at, what would you say would be the average learning skill time frame?
So you take like a baseline and then you add like maybe that. It's a pretty steep learning curve for Adobe.
Okay.
It is rather steep unless you have a background or an understanding and a familiarity with other Adobe products. So if you're familiar with Photoshop, for example, or Illustrator, you've used those, any of the other softwares in the Adobe world, they speak kind of the same language and your familiarity will become way, your learning curve will be way shorter. But if you are completely new to the Adobe suite, it is a very steep learning curve. But there's tons of resources out there, tons. That's
Okay,
my
great. Any other questions before Molly moves on to the easier one in Canva? Let's see, not really. I think everybody's pretty excited about Canva because other than Elizabeth, I think there's very few people that are, and maybe Jonathan, everybody else is Canva. So, yep, they're saying hit the easy button. that's my hand.
I love it.
I love it.
I love it.
That's awesome.
So easy.
Awesome. I'm gonna get out of here and let you hit the easy.
I love it. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me pull up my new screen to share. And let's make this with the easy button. I love that. So we are in Canva, and I'm just going to make a new video. Actually, no, I wanted to do social media is the one I like to click. Social media, let's make an Instagram reel. Fabulous. So again, same thing applies as before. We want to gather together all of our assets. So we want to have all of those branded materials ahead of time. I like to have my brand sheet so I know when I'm going through the Canva available graphics, I know that I can match them to my brand, the feel, the aesthetic, and the tone of my brand. So here on Canva, we have at the very bottom here, that same timeline like we were dealing with before. It's represented in different chunks along the timeline. And above it here in that big square is our canvas that we're working with. On the side of the screen here, we have access to all of our tools and things like that, including our uploads folder where we want to put all of our graphics, and we want to upload all of our stuff into there ahead of time if possible, or if we've already done that with our graphics in the past. Yeah, okay, cool. If I move you guys over there, then I can see everything. Now, I have added an extra easy button for you guys, those visualizers. So you can't actually make them audio responsive in Canva, but we can do a little visual play around, a little workaround that works for you guys. And the easy button I've gotten for you is I've put together a document that has a bunch of the best visualizers that you guys can use. Again, most of these are from the Pro account, but number 4 here, I believe, is available on just a free account. So we have options for you. So I'm going to give you access to this document as well, or this Canva file, so you can use these waveforms on your own, so you don't have to sort through and try and find some. But if you'd like to, you would go over to Elements here, and you would type in audio waveform. There's a couple other ways to phrase that, but audio waveform seems to give you the best results in Canva, so you guys don't have to try and figure that one out. We got it for you. Now, in graphics, we have a lot of still versions of this, which just give you the flat image, but sometimes you will find some that are moving graphics. So in this case, we have one here. This is also available, again, in the file that I gave you guys. It's number 1. So we're just going to put one of those on the screen here. We also have, sometimes you get round ones, which are really cool as well. So you can dig through those. You can use the ones that I've given you, but we want to make sure that we have one on our screen that we like. Now, the next thing I will do, now I'm just going to get into like design mode. So I want to have a space for a image. So I want to frame. And what I build today, I'll give you guys access to that as well, so you guys can use them as a starting block. I like to have an image here, which maybe you can put your logo in, or you can have like a picture. Oh, let's just get a photo. Let's just see what's in here for AI robot. Let's just see what we can put. Cool. This guy looks really cool, and it's also a video file. So we're going to click and drag that. And then, yeah, cool. No, I don't like where that is. Let's try this guy. Yeah, that's better. Cool. So now we have this video of this guy. We've got this waveform down here. I want to play with this video a little bit because I want to make sure that it plays back on repeat so that it's constantly looping. And I want to do the same thing with the graphic. Oh, wait, graphics do it automatically, so we don't have to think about that. Cool. So now I want to kind of emphasize this. I'm going to add in just a shape of a circle here. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger than this guy. Center him on top. Go to my layers. Kind of move my layer down a little bit. Cool. I want to change that to more of a POW kind of color scheme. I think that would be cool. A little gradient action down here. If I wanted to select a custom color, just go up into the corner here. You can adjust your gradients, or you can do a solid color. I just think the gradient looks a little bit cooler. Actually, I don't like that waveform. I'm going to pick a different one from the graphic that I gave you guys, because I want to start with a black background. So I think I'm going to start with this purple guy. So I'm just going to select it, copy it, Control C, head over to the one I'm working on a different tab, and just Control V so it drops in place. I'm going to stretch it out so it's the full size. I wanted that because I want to change the background to black. I'm going to select both of those, group them so they stay together. I can move that up a little bit. Move that up a little bit. Let's, so you can do custom text, but also they have these already nicely designed sets of text. So maybe one of these will look cool. There is one in here that I like, but I don't see it. There it is. Cool. So we do this one, then you might say, like that all. So let's just play around with that a little bit. Cool. Maybe we'll move this guy around. This here. Actually, let's flip this guy entirely. That'd be cool. Flip that entirely. Let's move this guy over here. AI that sells itself. Give it a try. And then go up in here and we'll add our whatever your phone number is. Don't call this phone number. It's not a real phone number, everyone. Bam. Center that on there. You can change that font. I know Funnel Doc really likes pop-ins. So let's pop it up. I don't, he would never say that, and he's probably shaking his head at me for saying that. That a little bit bigger. Shimmer it a little bit nicer. Boom. Like, come on. Couldn't be easier. Now, how do we attach our music? Great question. We're going to go over here to uploads, and we already have our files already organized. We're going to drop our audio into there. In your uploads, you have these 3 different folders. So audio already attached. We're going to click and drop it down into the very bottom here where it says music. Oops, I might have to do that again. So we're just copying and pasting that so it's nice and long. And I'll grab my audio again. Now I can fit the audio because the video we've just created is long enough. Fortunately, Canva's weird and doesn't always let us input audio first. So to make it longer, I just select the file, the section we've created, Control C for copy, and then Control V gives us the next chunk. So we have our audio file that loops around. Now we just want to select the last block of our video and move it so it matches the end of our audio. Now, if you want to change up the video, you want some text to fly in, you want to do all of those kind of animations, it's just the same as you would do in Canva normally. So let's say we want this to fly in. So we're going to select it, and then we're going to go over to animate. And now we have lots of different options. So we can have it come in that way, which is a burst, or we can have it slide in, which I think grabs a lot of people's attention. We can bounce the numbers in. These are all great ways. You can stack your animations as well. So these are great ways to get people's attention and really highlight that phone number. I really think bringing in that phone number animation at the right time is a really good way to do this. So let's pick, let's keep it flickering and let's burst it when it comes on. So now it's going to be really annoying and available, and it's connected to that last, actually, let's do it this way. Let's copy it. I want to move the cursor to the very end. Voila. And then I actually want to shorten the one that's second to the end. so that the last segment here is a full 7 seconds, which is the size of, it's actually the audio wave. And we're going to do that. Then we'll select our phone number. We'll do those animations again. So we'll get it to burst on. And at the very bottom, we also have the continuous effects. So we'll get it to flicker just to add some effect on that. And that is our video. So it's not a genuine visualizer in that it's reactive to the sound itself, but it is a real easy workaround. And most people aren't paying attention to whether or not it's actually reactive. They're going to be so wowed at what your AI is able to do. That's what they're going to be paying attention to. The visualizer is just something to grab their attention. And what this call is doing is what's keeping their attention. Yeah. And then at the end of this, you would just select share, go to download. And of course, you have your different settings, but for video, I love to do MP4 videos. And you can also, with a shorter clip, I recommend doing like just a couple seconds highlight, maybe like 10 seconds at most. Then you can also download a GIF or a GIF, whatever you call it. But MP4 video is what you want for the most part. And you want to make sure that you're selecting all the pages. So that's all of the different chunks of our timeline we've created. And then you download. Bam. Once that's done, it'll pop it into wherever your downloads folder is. And you, my friends, will be good to go. Heck yeah.
That was really great. Molly, you did a great job. Everybody in the chat was loving it. They definitely were ready for the easy button, that's for sure. But everybody was loving it. They said, thanks so much. Thank you. Everybody, there's a whole like 23 people on right now watching you. So great job. Also, they want to know about the links. You had some links that you wanted to drop in. Can you drop those in the chat for everybody?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So,
I'll also put them in the group, everybody, but I wanted to put them here for you guys as well. Oh, that's great, everybody. Thank you for being so nice. That's so sweet. Everybody's saying such a great job. You did amazing. So they loved it.
Yay.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Cool. Very cool. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for showing up. Any questions for Molly? But when we wrap up, she's about to drop in there are the links. Make sure everybody grab those. Like I said, I will put those in the community. I'll put a post in there about it. If you're in the AIAK, be prepared that next week you are going to be needing to make a Canva video. These are too good not to use for when we're running ads. I mean, they're just too good to use for when we're running ads. It'd be silly not to. So, and of course, this video will go in the AIAK for everybody else. It'll be up for 24 hours. I'm going to upload it to YouTube for 24 hours as well. Yes, Emil, thank you very much. Molly, she says, you guys are awesome. Yeah, she works really hard. She's a smart girl. You know, thanks a lot. So any other questions? Go ahead.
With the Google Doc, that is the step-by-step for the hard version. Make sure you click that link and then make a copy. I'm not giving y'all access to edit it. That would be confusing for everyone. So make a copy. And if there's any questions, concerns, you get hiccups, you want to run your design by me, absolutely hit me up. I follow the funnel doc obsessively, so he knows how to get a hold of me. And awesome. Yes, you can see the finished product. My computer's a little bit laggy right now, but we'll upload them to the group in 10 minutes after this is done.
Sweet. And then I'll put the links to the documents in that upload that she put in there as well, so that we can wrap that up. With that, is there any other questions from Molly? Anything else like about graphics? She knows a lot about graphics and visual effects and stuff like that. So if it's in that realm, she's pretty much a mini guru about it. So this would be a great time. Anything about Adobe After Effects, there's a lot about Adobe, a lot about Canva, stuff like that. So there you guys go. Make sure you get all those links out of there. And if there's not any other questions, Molly, like I said, this would be.
I have a quick question. Molly, the first link you put in for Canva, it looks like it's just to one file. It's not to like the board.
So go down to the one that I just posted.
Okay.
So there's our It's supposed to say our finished version for you to edit, which is the one we made together. And then the one right below it should be all the spectrums.
Thank you very much. That's all I needed.
Awesome.
It was great today. Thank you very much.
Awesome.